What does hope look like? For emerging youth who face staggering mental health challenges on the eve of their 18th birthday, is hope having access to insurance? For youth who made a wrong turn and have a criminal record, does hope look like an under-the-table job that helps them afford a pantry of snack cakes and ramen noodles? Can you see hope in the eyes of a 17-year-old who is waking up from her fix without being assaulted, even though she made her bed in an abandoned building in Salem's industrial district? What does hope look like for foster youth who have been abandoned by the very people who were supposed to protect them? The statistics show a grim reality for young adults from the ages of 14 to 25. As the world changes, a new approach to reach at-risk youth is needed. Dr. Ajit Jetmalani is a child psychiatrist at OHSU Hospital in Portland.
You know, young adults in transition really, we think of that period of life from age 15 to 25 as a distinct period of life because of the range of both opportunities and challenges that young people face.
In 2006, reports came out from the state of Oregon demonstrating that youth-serving systems were unable to reach the majority of youth in the population, identified as transitional-aged youth. The numbers showed that many of these youth who were dependent on powerful psychotropic medications, intensive therapies, and other services fell into an unreachable void, and most of this drop happens at the exact age of 18.
Transition-age adults not only have unique needs and challenges, but we also know that we've done pretty poorly with helping youth who have mental health challenges in childhood continuing to seek care and have effective care through that transition period.
The system failed our family. My daughter, she was misdiagnosed. She was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. She was put on psychotropic meds, constantly changing these medications, and they had very serious side effects. Just a lot of traumatic things that happened.
The children who grew up in foster care or have experienced system involvement are statistically more likely to become homeless, and many more system-involved youth face grim outcomes after they transition into adults. This at-risk population were falling, dropping out of systems and services at the age of 18.
What we tend to think is, well, somebody just turned 18, and we do a familyectomy. We kind of say, okay, you're an adult now, we're not going to involve your family. We're not going to look to other social supports. You're an adult, that means as an individual you should be coming to me and I should just be dealing with you. That's absolutely the wrong approach. Young people have to have people care about them. Well, we all do, but particularly at that vulnerable time of life. Supporting young people in seeking out, well, who is their core support system, and engaging them in the process of their health care is really a key strategy. Adolescence is clearly the highest risk time for suicide. Oregon, for instance, is the second highest suicide rate in the country. It's the second leading cause of death in the 15 to 25 age population.
December 22nd, 2012 was the day that the world was supposed to end, and for me it kind of did. That was the day that I found out that my brother Matthew had gone missing. I got a phone call from my brother's wife letting me know that Matt hadn't come home. The next morning, I was more worried that he still hadn't gotten contact. His Facebook had been shut down, which is unlike him. And so I contacted the family and nobody had heard from him. And so I gave it a couple more days just in case he decided to take a break or needed some air, and we still hadn't heard anything. Months went by, 6 months of posting flyers and living with the fact that we couldn't find him. And every year we go fishing at Diamond Lake. I don't have reception there, and on our way home, when my phone finally got reception, my phone was blown up. I had multiple text messages and multiple phone calls and voicemails. And they all said that I needed to call somebody. And they had found Matt's body in the river and that he had completed suicide off the St. John's Bridge. I couldn't breathe. I loved my brother so much. The only thing that kept going through my mind was St. John's Bridge is a long bridge. To be by yourself and to be struggling with those thoughts and to not have one person stop him or see him or reach out to him was too much.
Young adults in Oregon have higher suicide rates than the average state. This horrifying reality is a primary force behind Youth Move Oregon's Silent Watch campaign.
When I heard about the Silent Watch, it was a way for me to make it through the tidal waves of grief, and anger, and sadness, and rage, and everything else, to find another perspective on suicide and depression.
The Silent Watch is an online campaign to reach young adults who are experiencing depression or who are struggling with suicide. The campaign started with graphics of hooded figures standing in support of hopeful messages.
The Silent Watch to me is a place where youth and young adults go when they're looking for hope, when they've been searching for a reason to keep going or a reason to keep pushing forward. And the Silent Watch to me is a place where people look for the thing they haven't found elsewhere, something that holds them up when they've been struggling. I think it's important to have content online that's accessible to youth and young adults because it's one of the ways that they access the world. I think the Silent Watch is really innovative in the way that it uses graphic designs and bold statements to reach youth, using youth-friendly language and connecting with them at a deeper level. The man in the hood is all of us, those who have gone through dark times and those of us who are currently going through it, and those of us who in the future might struggle. And I think he speaks to youth and a lot of people because it could be them. And it might have been them, and it might be them again in the future.
Youth Move Oregon operates across the state in urban and rural communities. Some of these communities host a Youth Move drop-in center. These centers are designed from the ground up to be stigma-aware. Some youth who go to these centers don't know that the center has any relation to mental health systems. They are designed to be an environment that is welcoming and engaging to young people.
The drop-in center is really a place where youth and young adults can gather and come together in a natural environment that has opportunities for fun, for them to feel at home, to feel like they belong, and even though they don't realize it, to actually get some of the help with supports that they may need in their life.
Most of the staff that make up these centers are peer support specialists.
So what we have to do is really design a system that has a transition opportunity that is culturally sensitive. And by culture, I'm not just talking about the culture of one's heritage, but the culture of youth. What can make a person feel comfortable showing up somewhere where they feel like they have agency, they're being treated in a way that supports the fact that they are a young adult and they have the ability to impact what happens.
We hire youth and young adults to work with youth and young adults ages 14 to 25, 26, right in there. And we hire these youth and young adults that come from many different backgrounds and expertise in their own lives.
One major program that Youth Move Oregon provides in 8 different locations is a 32-week leadership curriculum. This curriculum was designed to mimic the positive attributes of gangs while infusing programming with the Search Institute's 40 developmental assets.
Youth Move became a part of my life in 2011. I was in a tough spot. I had just had my son, and I was still having issues, and I was into myself more than needing other people.
At Youth Move Oregon, what we value not is a degree or a piece of paper or schooling per se, it's more the schooling of life. And so we hire youth and young adults that have expertise and lived experience with recovery, mental illness. They may have learning disabilities. They may experience other disabilities, incarceration. They're alumni of the foster care system and identify as LGBTQI2S. And we bring these people in, and we support them and we train them, and then they work with youth and young adults throughout our different communities in a variety of different ways.
Trained by Youth Move Oregon, based on curriculum approved by Addictions and Mental Health, these peers use their distant experiences of being system involved to help young people get through tough times.
My involvement with Youth Move started that I was just one of the youth, just showing up, taking in the support that I can get. If I needed help in school, if I was just having like a hard time in life, I would just walk up to them, and I wouldn't just apply the advice that they were giving me, but I would take that advice, use it on myself, and help other youth to inspire them to do the same thing. I started becoming more stable, and then I became the person that all the youth were walking up to. Hey, I need to talk to you. I need your help with this. I became the volunteer here at Youth Move.
Peer support specialists use social networking and other technology-based approaches to reach the population of youth that are described as system weary. One major program that Youth Move Oregon provides in 8 different locations is a 32-week leadership curriculum that has been reviewed by the University of Oregon.
After becoming a part of Youth Move, over these 3 years, she has gone from this kid who wanted to die, a kid who's talking about death all the time, to being able to talk at the state level, at state committees. Her self-esteem, she's got great self-esteem now. She's got friends. She's able to talk with the adults of Youth Move and feel connected, and that these adults understand and care about her and are supportive of her, and they're there always.
Our framework is based on the 40 developmental assets which come out of the Search Institute and positive youth development work, in which they're research-backed, and in a nutshell, these assets, we know that youth that are successful adults later in life, the more assets that you have, the more successful you're going to be.
The most hopeful things that I've noticed in the scope of work in psychiatry around transition-age adults is that they are truly participating in system change and developing what the next delivery of care will be. What will it look like? Well, we have people who've experienced it and have something to say, and we're listening to their voice. It's not you delivering care to somebody, it's you providing care with somebody. It's a collaborative effort in order for that to be experienced that way, and for the person to see this as an effort that they feel motivated and engaged in, and trusting that it's in their best interest. And some of the most potent anti-stigma messages come from organizations like Youth Move Oregon. The idea that you can gather with others who've had similar experiences, learn from each other, and then take that messaging and actually impact healthcare delivery system and politics and the way people are treated, that is an incredible anti-stigma message, and it's also an incredibly effective method of making change in the system of care.
Youth Move Oregon's mission is to empower young adults to explore their assets, conquer adversity, and achieve excellence. One story, one legacy, and one community at a time. Youth Move Oregon offers a range of trainings for programs and councils on the subject of transitional aged youth. Youth Move Oregon launched in 2009 and is a 501c3. For more information and to join the movement, visit us online at youthmoveoregon.com.